Okay, you are live on the air.
Hello, Walt.
Hello, Royce.
Only if I
Hi.
unmute.
How you doing?
Hello, hello.
Okay, let me start the show here, Royce. Okay, this is Nancy Hopkins. We are Cosmic Reality Radio Show. This is our second production of live radio. Walt Silva is producing. It's under the Cosmic Reality Radio now. Long story, but we're trying to expand the Wolf Spirit family so that we have backup so that when Colleen gets sick or Jay gets sick or I get sick or Walt gets sick, there's somebody that can step in and do the radio, because when we're not live, we feel terrible about it and we miss you guys. So we are doing this, and tonight we have Royce Gay with us, and he was with us a couple of weeks ago, and he is a Native American of the Lakota tribe. And I'm going to let him introduce himself to you because he is on phone, he is traveling. It's a long story, another long story, but I wanted to get him on while we got him up and let him just tell you what he's been doing, because it's absolutely fascinating. So go right ahead there, Royce. Tell me where you are and what you're doing.
Okay, Nancy, how you doing? Good evening. My name is Royce Gay. Good evening also, Walt. I'm actually on the road in a snowstorm in South Dakota. I was coming from Washington, D.C., the big march. I went out to Florida, West Palm Beach. Went out there and prayed with a lot of the people that had suffered from the tornado that was out there, and Georgia, those people that had lost their lives. So it's kind of like today, I'm in the snowstorm traveling home at a brisk pace, but it's like you say, the cosmic reality of everything. You're here one day, and the next day you're gone, or you're here one day in sunny Florida with sex on the beach, and today you're in a winter wonderland with White Russian. So having the ability to be able to travel freely and speak about the great things that are happening. In our culture, the first thing we do is we say a prayer. Can I say a prayer?
Yes, absolutely, please.
Okay, Tungashla, Wakantaka. Wopila Tanka Tita, Sepeto was the Yuha. Wana Yuha, Bowie, Ita Tahikele, when Yuha, Omani, the Loyi, that Tahina, or we were young, was cheaper, me, no, Omakyo, no Tetio, Tungashla, Kate with Topa, Wakata, Omaka. Tungashla, Wana Ushimalio, Wana Umpo Chach, Behena Onkia, the Star Nations, Oyate, Tima, you, or one with an which is on Choni. Mika Oyate, Washicho File Yuha, white, G, yellow, Luta, red, and Sabla, black, nation, Oyate, Yuha, Timayo, Mika. Tima, you, in the stone, okay, one G, a betu, one G. What I was doing while I was making that prayer, it's like a prayer. It's a prayer of protection, protect us through the hard times, because we have snow, we have tornadoes, we actually have lightning storms with rain and hail and snow. It's crazy, huh? So we are in some trying times. Can you still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so we're back on top of a hill now. So we're actually probably doing like 30 miles an hour in a snowstorm. I sent you a picture. I recorded it. It's starting to lighten up, but it's pretty heavy. The snow is pretty dense. We're actually lucky we're not sliding off the road. But I'm glad to be a guest on your show tonight. You were talking about the things that I was doing, and wanting to share that with you guys, with the listeners.
Yes, please.
Okay, so I went out to Washington, D.C. to sit in on the 13th annual American Indian inaugural celebration in Arlington, Virginia. with Trump's transition team. So sitting in with the 240 tribes that were there, the whole consensus, everybody that were there and attended voiced their concerns to Trump's transition team. There was a panel of Trump's team all telling the Native Americans that we are going to better our communication and work together for this transition period. And what does he do? Monday morning, he goes and he issues an executive order to go ahead and give the green light to Keystone XL and Dakota Access, which is kind of like a spite in the face to the Native Americans that were there, you know? So a lot of the world and the people that were standing with us and are still standing with us were all networking, all making the phone calls to all these organizations with a lot of, I'm going to be on another show tonight, Slider Joe, will be on his show tonight, and we're going to talk, they're talking about Rosal, the apple cough, the Environmental Protection Agency is getting, its phone lines are being flooded with complaints about the poisoning of animals, fowl, eagles being found dead with rat poison, the people getting sick, the 40,000 tons of rat rubble being dumped into the Missouri River. Actually, a lot of people got it dumped into their drinking water, so there's a lot of people that are being sick from that. So, you know, the cultural genocide, the historical genocide, my great ancestor that talks to us, and even John Trudell, one of the poet activists that passed away, he talks about the hallucination. We are the hallucination. We are natives that are actually being, you know, they're telling us it's okay. They're showing the world that it's okay to kill the red man because we're actually not smart enough to understand that we are living on top of gold mines and we're not producing it. So on behalf of the United States government, they're going to produce it for us, which is what they have already done for hundreds of years, you know. So we are just organizing and networking, divesting our money, we're encouraging everybody to divest their money from all banks. And we want to see the market crash. You know, we want to see this market crash so we can actually show the world how weak the American dollar is. So that's one attack point. Yeah, the other attack point is contacting all these administrations, all these organizations, the EPA, the human rights, the civil rights violations, the ACLU, the NOAC, all these organizations that are able to help and jump in and, you know, weigh in to help the Native people. It's not only exclusively Native. There's a lot of people still at the camp that are still non-Native. So basically, creating this Osheti Shakoni, the 7 council fires of Confederate Nation is what we are in the process of doing right now, is getting everybody to jump on board. There's 640 federal recognized tribes right now in the United States. And if you do the math, you're going to come up with, you know, almost 6 million indigenous tribes, indigenous peoples here in the United States willing to come together and stand right now with all the other people in this world, in this state, wanting to help make, you know, with the Million Woman March, I'm going to go back to that real quick. The Million Woman March and all the march about equality, you know, all the issues that came up, that's what's happening right now. You know, we still have that momentum, so we're still working with that. And so we're reaching out, networking to all these groups, to all these organizations that were there that helped organize these marches, inaugural occupation. All of these people are still with us, and they want to know what we can do, what they should do. And that thing was called the White House, called the Congress. I don't have the numbers offhand, and basically call every, you know, state representative and ask that, you know, because we're looking at now, the Army Corps of Engineers is going to probably have to. We don't want them to rescind that because they issued an order saying that they wouldn't award that Dakota Access the easement. So if they continue to stay there and stall, but the good thing that we have right now is Trump. Actually, what he did was he issued the order for the hiring of federal contractors. So what that will do is kind of like we're looking for the fine line, the fine layer, the little layer that's going to the loophole within the armor that's going to tell us that we actually have a chance to stop the easement and the drill pads from actually drilling underneath the Missouri River. It's something big.
Okay, let me ask you some questions and try to get some clarity
Okay.
here for myself. So you're saying that Trump has actually signed some kind of an executive action report or whatever they call it, decision to allow the pipelines to go through both Keystone and Standing Rock.
Actually did. He signed an executive order today, giving the green light to Dakota Access and Keystone Pipeline XL. So he's kind of overturning a lot of Obama's work,
Well, not that Obama was all that great at it. I mean, it never should have gotten to where it has. But, okay, now, and in response to this, or a continuation of what happened in Washington, D.C. with the various indigenous peoples coming together, and you said there was over 600 tribes, is that correct?
We have 640 some federally recognized tribes, and in Washington, D.C., there was 240 tribes in attendance to Trump's transition. It was the 13th annual American Indian inaugural celebration. It was a transition to introduce Trump's team to the indigenous people. And in those meetings I sat in, the consensus was all these tribes were on pins and needles, wanting to know what Trump was going to do. And everybody that was sitting on Trump's panel had explained, we know what's going on. We are going to work with the people in respect to the treaty obligations. And, they gave the Native Americans hope. But then Monday morning, so Trump is clearly acting on his own personal instinct and his own thoughts and feelings of how he's going to override a lot of Obama's decisions, executive orders.
So do you feel that Trump's action is going to cause your people and the rest of us to come together, or are you just kind of reeling and feeling like what's the point?
No, I see. I've been looking at Facebook and looking at social media all day, and I can see what is becoming of it. I put up a post earlier. On my post, I said, because of what Trump is doing, he's bringing the world together to stand together. And, instead of wait 4 years, instead of just sitting 4 years and letting Trump do what he's going to do, now he's kind of like forced everybody's hand to act now. I don't watch news a lot, Nancy, so when I was in a motel in West Palm Beach the other day, I turned on the news, and I was listening to one of Trump's, the speaker, I can't remember his name, Chris something, but he was talking about how Trump felt offended that nobody was at his inauguration. But the next day, there was over 1 million people protesting his inauguration. So, he kind of felt like it was spurned, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's bringing his actions are bringing the world together. That's what I'm saying. It's got a ripple effect.
Okay, so what would you have us do? What can we do to, or give me more details in what you're thinking, or what's your message tonight?
Well, the message I have tonight is, to remain prayerful, to remain peaceful, because I put a post up on Facebook telling people, okay, Trump showed his hand, but we're going to show ours, because I guess he's a big Twitter fan, So I don't think he's big on Facebook, but he doesn't know how many people are really standing with the Native American people, and he really doesn't comprehend the the magnitude of this awakening. And all prophecies, all prophecies from every religious sect are showing that 2017 is the time, right, for the big shift, the big happening. So I don't think he comprehends the seriousness of what's going on with on the earth.
Now, what would you see or define the big happening as?
I see a big happening as people coming together through a spiritual movement, prayer. And I had mentioned it earlier to some people that, I'm not calling for arms. I'm not calling for an armed revolution. I'm calling for a spiritual revolution, because it's going to take prayer and people returning to prayer to actually see that shift, the change, that good. We call it shungat. We call it umpo chakra. We call it our guiding light. It's that energy that we feel that's in this environment, that's in the atmosphere. That's what we need. Is that good energy to stop that. It's a time of change, and it's a time for prayerful and peaceful awakenings through exercising our First Amendment right to assemble. If we continue to adhere to those and not get violent, and we are going to see some great changes.
Okay, so what we're talking about is the fact that Trump is acting almost like a catalyst to create a surge of unity and coming togetherness in opposition to what he's doing. Is this correct?
Yes, actually, you said it exactly. You hit the head on the nail, because when I was in Washington, I spoke. I met Mr. Jackson. I was going to do his radio show the next morning, but we had miscommunication. And even in that group at the National Democratic Women's Club where I spoke, the people, the women, the awakening, the women coming together, and Trump being the catalyst for all of this is kind of like, it's surreal, you know what I mean? So I don't know if he really is paying attention, but he just doesn't know that right now the world is united, standing around, because we are standing around.
Yeah, that's the problem. We don't know what he knows. I've watched him and get with Alex. Oh gosh, his name just ran out of my head. The Power to the People, Alex Jones. Okay, Alex Jones,
okay.
and he's a friend of Alex's, and you know where Alex comes from. And so you go, does he understand everything? Can he understand the full implications of what Standing Rock represents for the whole world as far as a spiritual rebirth? And we don't know. And then he does something like, okays the pipeline, and you go, oh, well, apparently he doesn't. And in the same time frame that you're saying this, he ordered the FBI into the Center for Disease Control. And they're going through the entire building, getting everything they can on vaccines to basically prove what everybody knows, that vaccines are dangerous, and the CDC has been, keeping this hush for so long. So he's like this dual character. He's just, you don't know where he is or where he's going.
Yeah, you're right, and because what I see is a man that's angry, but he has, like I was telling people, if you haven't been touched by the man upstairs, you haven't had that peacekeeper mentality yet. And what he's doing is he's searching to find himself, because the Trump that we know isn't the Trump that we're starting to see, and a lot of the people say, oh, he's all about money. He's divested. His money's in the pipeline. But what I see is something that's really, like you say, he's doing good one day, and then he's going to overturn, and he's going to change the Affordable Care Act, and he's going to throw that up. It's like he's looking for something that's not there,
It's just, it's fascinating.
But we can pray for him. I guess we can pray for him, and we can extend an olive branch to see if he really is going to take that olive branch, because with the Native people right now, there's so many people standing with us right now. I think that me going to Washington, D.C. on December 4th for the week of December 4th for the deadline cutoff date for Dakota was the big turning point when we witnessed a lot of people in Washington, the Republicans and the Democrats and the Liberals, telling us we are standing with you guys. We just don't know what Trump is going to do. So I see. Well, like I was saying, I told somebody on my Facebook post, if we divest all of our money and we start taking our money and put it in stock, or we put it in a credit union, we're going to see the stock market drop. Because the stock market is manipulated anyway. But we're going to see, panic. We're going to see the chaos in the matrix is what we're going to see.
Well, let me step you back here for a second to the election itself, because we were doing a show. It was a Tuesday night. We were doing a show, and as during the show, Colleen was coming in with an update on how the election was going, and at one point, I remember getting this just kind of like message or this inspiration, and I said, well, it doesn't really matter who becomes the president, because we are in charge. It's our thoughts. It's our desires. Exactly. We can hold these people into whatever it is that we need to do. We hold the power. And at that moment, it was just about 8 o'clock, okay? The show goes to 9, so it was halfway through the show. And commentators were talking about this. It was like they suddenly saw a shift in everything that seemed to be happening. And from that moment on, Trump began to win in crazy ways. Okay, but he was winning. Now, the next day, I found out that Starfire Tor, who does a huge amount with timelines, had put her people to task not to decide whether it would be Hillary or whether it would be Trump, but to decide what kind of a leader they would want, and to focus on those particular aspects of what leadership is required. And all of a sudden you get this time, and she was attempting to change the timeline to a Trump timeline, because every time she would look at a Hillary timeline, it would end in a nuclear disaster. At least Trump, whatever he was bringing to the table, was not going to end in a nuclear disaster. So she was really, let's say, leading her people down a road of putting out, and she has thousands, putting out a lot of thought energy towards a change in the timeline. And then, like I say, about 8 o'clock that night, I'm suddenly thinking about timelines and going like, what happened? And then when I went back and I looked at what happened, I thought to myself, I think there was a timeline. The next day I find out Starfire Tor was actually trying to do it. Now, what I'm saying here is this timeline shift. The next time I laid eyes on Trump, he was not the man that had been campaigning. To me, he was a totally different person. And since then, and I can tell you, down to the pictures of him being changed on Facebook through a Mandela effect. But the thing of it is that since then, it's almost like there's simultaneous two Trump timelines. One where he's this jerk, and the other where he is really an inspiring leader that is taking some, let's say, courageous steps. So how do you feel about that? Do you understand my connection with the timelines, and do you feel that possibly is at play?
Yeah, because I used to tell people in my group that same exact thing. I said, it doesn't matter who our president's going to be. It could go either way, but we are at this changing point, and whoever is the outcome winner is what we as a people are going to have to hold them accountable. And I do feel like I had prayed a lot to my ancestors. And one thing that they did say was that if Hillary did get in there, she was going to cause a world war because of what her stance was with Syria, I don't know about Syria. I know that's what's going on over there, but I do know that if we were able to avert that, that crisis, and we were actually looking at the county runner who was Trump, then I think what I think is that as Americans, I even spoke out openly about, I was open-minded, and I did say, give the guy a chance, So wanted to find out where these, like you say, there's two sides of Trump. He's still battling to find the two wolves that's still in him, still battling, The good wolf and the bad wolf is still having his moments.
And the whole thing, I mean, if you tried to write a fiction about this whole story, nobody would believe you. It's just it's a fascinating story of reality, what's transpiring. And it is so very, it's almost like characterizations. I mean, Hillary and Trump during the campaign looked like characters. And now you've got a situation where you've got these two Trumps that are like the good and the evil. The wolf, the good and the bad wolf. And which one do you feed?
Exactly.
Are you guys okay? There's a lot of strange noise behind you.
Oh, we had to stop because we had to pull off the road. We're okay. It's still coming down pretty heavy.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah, we're probably going to be all of my brother says that they shut down the interstate and the highway, so I got to make it home.
You saying in front of you they've shut down the highway?
Yeah, they shut down the highways and stuff, but and where I'm from, we actually, as long as we're moving, we're okay. And tank of gas, so it's tough. I actually have hand warmers and truncheons. You know how they go underneath your shoes? A friend of mine, North Ash, sent them back with me from Washington to send to the camp. So, worst case scenario, right? We have to break into the care package for the camp. I make sure that when people send stuff for the camp, I make sure it gets to the camp. But we're actually in another blizzard storm condition.
So you're still quite a ways from the camp?
Yep.
Oh, God bless you. I mean,
it's determination, sheer determination.
This is only our second show, and already we've got somebody stuck in a snowstorm. I mean, when you think about the fact that we're able to talk to each other, it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's great. I was looking at the time frame, and I was like, well, I think we're an hour ahead. You're 2 hours. You're in Minnesota?
No, I'm in Miami, and Walt is in Minnesota.
Okay, Miami. Okay. Yeah, that's who I got mixed up. I was just out there, and I reached out to Walt last night. I was telling Walt I was in Miami. So I was in West Palm Beach, where I was.
Yeah.
How the weather changes.
Say again?
Oh, it's funny how the weather can change, in different parts of the region.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, that's what happened to me is I came down here during the wintertime, found out that you could actually live someplace that didn't have winter, and I never left, really.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I love the palm trees, the palm forests, whatever you call those, and then I also saw pine trees, too, so that was pretty enlightening to me to see pine trees out there.
I'm glad you got down here.
Yeah, I made it home. I actually got rerouted, and I'm back in a snowstorm in South Dakota, and home. But the good thing is, I'm actually safe. It's a snowstorm, but I'm still safe.
Now, when you were in D.C., did you get to see the inaugural thing itself?
No, I didn't. We were down on Second Street marching.
I'm sorry, you broke up.
Oh, okay. When I was in Washington D.C., I was down on Franklin Street where the big march was. The people were marching, so I didn't get to see the inauguration.
Let me ask you something. Do you have the microphone somehow rubbing up against your jacket or something?
Oh, I'm holding the phone right now.
Okay, because is it?
I have my headset with me. Yeah. What you're probably hearing is the windshield wipers.
Oh, yeah. Good Lord. So when you were in D.C., did you find? Did you feel the how were people how were people acting towards you? Did they seem to have a better understanding of what you were talking about and what you were doing? Or what was your...
Yeah. Well, yeah, there was, I want to say everybody from Standing Rock was up there in Washington, D.C. I saw Chase Iron Eyes, I saw Candy Mossett, Dallas Go To, I saw the International Indigenous Youth Network, so everybody from the camp was in Washington. It was great. It was just like seeing people from back home, but we were in a bigger city and the logistics were changed. We were actually, we weren't freezing and coughing and hacking up the dapple cough, but we were actually in Washington. It was a bit hazy, a little bit of rain, but yeah, I got to see a lot of the people. But just seeing everybody from around the world there marching and protesting Trump's inauguration was, to me, it was probably the highlight of my life, other than seeing Haley's Comet.
Well, let me tell you, I watched it on TV, and there was some they were talking about one street, a very small group of protesters, and that was the only thing that they focused on mainstream media. But you're telling me that in Washington, you being in Washington, you know that there was a number of different protests ongoing at the time of the inauguration. Is that correct?
Exactly. Out these different parks, there was the different parks down there on K Street and Franklin Street, and I can't remember the name of the parks, but one of my buddies got maced he got beat up with a baton and maced with tear gas, and so he has pictures and video footage of the militarized police actually beating on them and spraying them with tear gas. That wasn't spoken about on national. I don't know. I do know they did speak a big deal amount of the car that got burnt. The glass, the windshield that got shattered, the roof that got stomped on. They spoke on that. That was to the extent.
Yes, and when they were doing that, they were making a big hubbub about it at the same time saying, "Oh yeah, but it's over there. It's not interfering with the ceremony, the show." And whenever they were putting the camera out on this particular group of protesters, the only group of protesters, meanwhile, that is being presented to us, I had that weird feeling that these were actors. I did not feel protest from that group at all.
Well, they call them provocateurs.
I'm sorry, but that's where
they call them
damaging.
Yeah, I call them provocateurs. You know what I mean? But they're everywhere.
Yeah. I mean, even when they show what's supposed to be true, you don't know if it's true or not. But I am so grateful for you to tell us that there were many. Do you can you remember any of the groups in particular that were protesting?
There was the Water is Life. There was the gay, lesbian, the different groups. I want to say pro-abortion. The people that were for abortion. There was so many. There was women groups there. I have pictures of all the groups, and one of them was protesting the war in Syria. I seen signs talking about the war in Syria. In the overseas, and they were actually saying, speaking out against, saying bad words to that effect about Trump on a lot of the posters. So there was a lot of groups there.
So some of the groups were actually protesting Trump per se, but some of them, or many of them, or maybe most of them, were just trying to present their own version of what real should be.
Yeah, because that's what they were saying. This is what democracy is. There was a lot. There was so many groups there. There was I want to say, I remember there was one of my friends that lives in Washington. He works for the Friends Committee on National Legislation. They were telling me that there was Washington had issued 350,000 permits for Trump's Occupy inauguration. So those 350,000 permits, I don't know the magnitude of how many people were actually there, but they did say when I was there, they did say that you can sure bet that the police will be there, the militarized police. Well,
350,000 permits to assemble were granted by D.C.?
Yes.
That's astounding.
That's big. And just you can imagine how many groups those are, what there were. I've got footage in all of the different groups on my phone, but it was just phenomenal seeing all these people, in some of the streets, you can actually hear yelling and screaming. And we went over to the Martin Luther King Monument and took pictures, and we could still hear people yelling and screaming clear over there. And I don't know if you've ever been to Washington, but you see how the Potomac River separates that, and you can still hear the yelling and the marching, and the horns. It was like one of these big old celebrations, but it was actually a protest.
Wow. I have to admit that I don't listen to the media, and this week I haven't listened to even what's been happening, in regards to the interpretation on the internet. You probably have. Are you finding that the internet is in fact aware of all this and reporting it?
Yeah, there's a lot of people's posts that are being taken down. A lot of the live video footage of Washington are being removed.
So Facebook is removing video from the DC.
I see some people's comments asking why a lot of their video feeds are not being played or being removed. Well, there's some type of collusion going on.
Okay, let me ask you this. Is there any alternative website to Facebook? I mean, are you seeing the same thing happening on YouTube where they put up a YouTube and it disappears also?
Yeah, I do schooling. I do have my own, I did purchase my own web domain, so I'm actually going to probably start stepping away from Facebook and going into, WordPress, or where we can actually voice our opinion and be heard, with free speech, First Amendment.
Are there websites out there already that are trying to do that? I would assume, maybe.
I'm sure there is. Yep, I have. We have, and one of my buddies that was at the camp. One of the guys that was really active in the water protectors, the indigenous one indigenous network, indigenous native network. They started their own, web design and stuff. But everybody's branching away from Facebook.
And that was the Indigenous Network?
Yeah, the 1N TV.
Say again?
1N Indigenous. I think it's IN Indigenous Network is what it is.
The Indigenous Network. Okay. Maybe Walt, if you can see if you can find a Indigenous Network.
Indigenous, yes. It was one of the groups that was actually doing the live feeds at the camp.
There's so much of it out there, and unfortunately, Colleen Kelly was the one in Wolf Spirit that was watching all this, and then she would report every week. We'd get a report on what was happening, but she's been sick, so she's not even here, to report for us. And Colleen, please feel better quickly. We're doing our best.
I'll say prayers for her. I talked to her a day or two ago, and she asked me if sent a message from Walt I responded, but I didn't know she was sick.
Yeah. Well, she hides things from us sometimes, I think. Anyway, so you've given us a real interesting thing to think about. 350,000 permits for assembly at the Donald Trump inauguration, and the mass media only reported on one that turned violent. And out of the 350,000, apparently none of the others did, because there was no other reports, and they certainly would have gone to another violent assembly. So that's a lot for the people.
Nancy?
Yes.
Is the full name is Indigenous Environmental Network?
Yep, that's it.
Okay, let me post that on the chat for the listeners to hear. Okay.
Thanks, Paul.
And then you got to remember there's digital smoke signals too. Myron Dewey.
Okay, that's another network.
Yeah, he's got his own network. It's called Digital Smoke Signal. So he's big. He's actually, was one of the first ones out there reporting.
They have a Facebook page, and they have a website. Okay.
If you would just add those into this conversation here on the side, so I'll have them. Yeah, we're trying to do more. Well, it was weird because when I first started to use YouTube, I wanted to put cosmic reality shows up. But every time I would try to do so, they would tell me that I was going against community standards. So I sort of left that just sitting there, and I have put my audio recordings up on CosmicReality.net, which is a Weebly website, under the belief that that is going to be safer than trying to put it up on YouTube or Facebook, and then them just deciding to take it down. So, keep us posted on what you're doing, because we all need to maybe make some kind of changes here to keep talking, because obviously if somebody's taken down, we don't know what they said.
That's true.
So, Walt, did you have any questions for Royce? Or, oh boy, I wish Colleen was here. She'd have 1,000 for you. Do you want to explain any more about the concept of the fall of the finances?
For me. Hello.
Yeah, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Well, I'm actually at my mother's house, so I just pulled into my mom.
God bless. So we've been in a snowstorm with you, and now you're at your mom's house, and you've still been on the radio.
Yeah, we made it. That's great.
Congratulations. I'm so glad that we got you there.
Yeah, I want to read something. Off my Facebook. I did a post on Walk Softly on this earth, Owakwalmani. It says, "Good afternoon, relatives. Today, the United States and the Trump Pence administration has just shown their hand, so we will show ours. On behalf of the 7 council fires of the Confederate Nation and the 640 federally recognized tribes and the 4 nations of mankind, the black, the white, the red, and yellow races making up the medicine wheel, have to parlay our message. The awakening. The time is now. My brothers and sisters, the government wants a revolution. We will give it to you. First, we network, we communicate, we assemble, we divest, we create our own international trust to house the billions of dollars we will take out of the bank. Within 24 hours, the market will crash. Then we will parlay. We will give our demands. We honor our treaty. The government wants martial law. We want what all humanity wants. Peace, not war. You can't stop the web of truth. I am the face of truth. We are taking back our lands with the help of all who are with us. Million women leading, millions following. Okay, people, join me at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for a live video feed from Walk Softly on This Earth. Let's show these jokers what democracy is. It's a revolution you can't stop. The time is now. Please share and reshare, and please remain prayerful and peaceful. Water protectors. Water is life. One heart, one mind. All lives matter. All my relations. No Dapple. And it says, reporting the Revolutionary War. It's got a picture. It says, before it was history, it was news. You know what I mean? So it's a story of a guy named Todd Angelic from the original Revolutionary War. And so taking that concept and using our networking, social media, the web of truth, the internet, and spreading the truth, not lies, because the truth will set you free. And what we see here today is the clear, blatant cultural genocide happening all over again through the poisoning of our people, through all these things that are going wrong with us. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I got like 10 more minutes to go and do this live feed, Nancy, so I might have to cut short here.
Whatever you have to do, guy.
I'm home.
Royce, you're home. You're home. That's.
And so if you could also plug my PayPal website, I can sure use some financial assistance with gathering money for it, because when we do the live video feed, we always take them and boost them on our webpage, and what that does, it gives more exposure. So we're actually reaching 100,000 people per live video feed. So having the financial support from the people around the world is great, because we're actually telling the people. We're telling the people we're giving them the truth, not no watered down version of a lie.
Why don't you give them that PayPal account if you can?
My PayPal account is Royce Gay, RoyceGay, all lowercase, 604 at Outlook.com. PayPal me, Royce Gay. Again, Royce Gay, 604 at Outlook.com. Thank you, Nancy, for letting me come on tonight.
Now, okay, it was Royce Gay, and what was the number?
604. 604 at Outlook.com.
Say it again for me,
Royce Gay, 604 at Outlook.com.
And that gets you to the PayPal account? Is that what it is?
Yep, it's PayPal me.
Okay. So, okay, that's Royce Gay, 604 at Outlet.com. That's his PayPal account. And if you can feel the energy that you want to have an energy exchange with him, you can go over to your PayPal account and say send money and give him that address. It's Royce Gay. Royce, RoyceGay is gay, and it's 604 at Outlet.com.
Outlook.
OUTLET?
No, OUTLOOK.com. Outlook.
Okay. OUT. I'm glad you cleared that one up.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So we've looked at it again, and it's Outlook, not Outlet, which I was saying. So it's Outlook.com. And when I get this when I get everything up, I want, if you'll give me, when you can get to a computer and you're comfortable, just send me any links that you want me to put on a YouTube video, and I'll get this thing up.
Okay.
All right. And I so appreciate you being here with us. And you see you got another show after this?
Yeah, Slider Joe's got a show, and I'm doing a live video feed right now on what we're going to do as a teaser for our next move with was what Trump executive order.
Well, now, if I'm understanding you, what you guys are talking about is creating a Confederate states. You're taking all these different tribes and different factions and bringing them together under a confederacy. Is this what you're proposing?
That's what we're proposing, because we have 640 tribes federally recognized, and not only the 640 tribes, but also the non-native tribes, because it's basically like the way I want to say. I don't want to say it's civil war all over again, because I had said that to that effect in a comment, and you should see the people. What about you're a spiritual person? You're supposed to be prayerful and peaceful. And I had explained, I am prayerful, I am peaceful, but sometimes you have to stand up against the face of evil, and you have to be prepared to die. And what these guys are doing is they're basically giving each other. They have executive power now to do what they want to do, and freely, at all costs, expend human life for oil.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what the battle is for. It's the concept of the few raping the planet and the many suffering for it. So I applaud all that you're doing out there, and hopefully we can, get you on again, and hopefully you're not going to be in a snowstorm in a car.
Exactly. Thank you.
Anything else, Royce?
That's it. I appreciate that, Nancy, and it's a pleasure.
Well, I appreciate you so much. You be safe, sir. And the message I think that we're both trying to give to people is that your thoughts matter. And even if that's the only way you can influence, it's a massive influence. Do not underestimate your ability to create energy of a good kind through your thoughts, and thoughts are prayers. I mean, praying is asking the great spirits, the ancestors, your higher guides, your angelic beings, your nature spirits. Praying is asking, and when you're thinking and you're putting out an energy form of pure light and goodness and protection of the water, protection of the planet, when you're doing that, you are very powerful. And I think that's why Royce is always praying for us. And Royce, before you go, can you give us another short prayer?
Yes, I will. Tukasra, opila tankachita petawashte yuhawana, o timaio, another time a hacky shack.com. What is the name of the other name? Cosmic Reality.
Cosmic Reality and Wolf Spirit. Thank you.
Ona yuha, sumani to Nazi, Wolf Spirit, Oyate, Omakiayo, Wuki, Wopila Tanka Tita Pepeto Estiha, Mitakule, Oyase. Thank you, guys.
Okay, then. Thank you so very much. And Walt, maybe you can put a tune on and I'll take a break, you'll take a break. Again, thank you so very, very much. All of us out there that are listening to you, appreciate you so very much. Walt, you want to say goodbye to Royce?
Oh, Royce, thank you very much for being here with us today. And I hope you'll have more successful shows and get the word out and multiply yourself many times over.
Thank you, Walt.
Okay, thanks, Royce.
Thank you.
All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, honey.